Hi. Why do people struggle with retirement? Apparently that's one of the most common questions asked by people coming up for retirement and people even in the earlier stages of being retired. When you think about it though, the answers are pretty straightforward. Let's take the typical life. The first 5 years, being looked after by parents, never having to make a real decision for yourself, having complete reliance on the father and mother figure or whoever's looking after you. And so this goes on until you reach your school years. You start infant school. There's a teacher to direct you, to tell you what to do, to tell you how to think. If there's a big decision coming up, they make it for you. And so on into school years. Even in school years, you are directed. You're kept within certain parameters. Think this, don't think that. Do this, don't do that. And so it goes on. If you are one of those people who go to university, I never went, but I do know that people go very commonly today, more so than ever before, then there is a certain amount of freedom, but it's not complete. You still have to adhere to the college's rules and regulations. You still have to attend lectures. Your days are all worked out for you to a certain degree. So right from infancy, right up until you start work, you are always placed within certain boundaries. You don't have total freedom, no freedom yet. And then you begin work. You might do an apprenticeship. You've got to adhere to certain things to make sure that you pass your apprenticeship. When you start work, there are rules and regulations. There's timekeeping. There is being at work on time, knocking off on time, not taking longer than lunch than you're allowed to, etc., etc. And so this goes on right up until the time you walk out of the office, the workplace, whatever it is, the vehicle you're driving, the big truck, whatever, and suddenly the onus is on you. You now have 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, 366 days of leap year, remember? Freedom. The choices are yours. You've never had this before. You might have to adhere to certain rules and regulations if you are on a pension, not to earn more than a certain amount, but by and large, you have the responsibility for your life full time, often for the first time ever. Nothing to hold on to anymore. Nothing to hold on to. No work obligations. And suddenly you're in a different phase of your life altogether. Almost as though you've changed planets. You're now off planet work and on to planet retirement. So what do you do? One thing you've been worried about is the money side of it. Most people, when they retire with their superannuation and their savings, are probably as wealthy as they are ever going to be in their life, unless they win the lottery. So immediately, what have we got saved? Do we owe anything? All of this comes into being. The responsibility there is to look after what you've got. You're not going to get any more. Chances are, and I'm assuming at this stage, there's little chance of you getting another job. If there is, well, it could be a different ball game. If you're very confident that you can start a new business and work for yourself, but I'm talking about retirement here. If you're a retiree, You think to yourself, okay, I've got all this time. I've looked forward to retirement and I'm going to have some fun. And then reality strikes. I can't undertake that 12 bucket list that I wanted to do. I'm not going to go on the Alaskan trip. I'm not going to do Europe. If I do, 3/4 of my nest egg will be gone and I'll be poor. So I've got to look after what I've got. These are the thoughts which go through your mind after the initial shock, and quite often it is a shock when you wake up the following morning and you don't have to go to work. The Monday morning, the first Monday morning when you should have been going back if you hadn't been retired. And as I said, this is the first time in your life when you're not guided and directed by other people. You now have to look after yourself. And this is what people find most difficult to adjust to. Because after the novelty, after the so-called honeymoon phase of realising you've got freedom, you've got plenty of money, you've got your health still, you don't owe any debts, and that's out of the way, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? You might have retired at 60 and you might expect to live to 90. 2/3 of your life gone, 1/3 left. That's an awful long time. 30 years. And if you are in good health, mentally, physically, the chances are, providing you look after yourself, you will live for another 1/3 of your life. The final third, as I call it. So this is why that question which comes up, why do people struggle with retirement, becomes, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I can't go fishing every day if I don't like fishing anyway. I can't play golf every day. Even if I do like golf, I can't afford it. So it's now a game, maybe once a week with friends. And then I'm only filling in time. And people don't just want to fill in time. When you work, there's a purpose. To bring in the money to support your family. To later on to put savings aside or buy things that you think you need. Now, what are you going to do? This is where it becomes tricky. This is where you need to think to yourself, okay, I need to look after myself. So I need to develop a regimen of regular exercise. I need to keep my breathing right. I need to walk every day. I need to keep my bone density, so maybe I should go to the gym and pump iron a bit. But most of all, what's the purpose? What am I going to do? Am I really just filling in time, or is this the opportunity for me to do what I've really always wanted to do all my life? And this is where the answer comes in. Why do people struggle with retirement? Because so often they don't really know what they want to do with all this free time. Now, before you retire, earlier on in life, if you can, think to yourself, what would I really do? If money was no object, health was no object, what would I really do? What do I think I was born to do? What's my purpose in life? And once you start thinking that way, a whole new, beautiful final third of life opens up for you. Now you have the opportunity to grow. Now you have the opportunity to be happy. Now you have the opportunity to contribute in some way that you know will make you and others feel good. And once you reach that stage, well, the challenge of what to do in retirement is no longer felt. You just get on with it.